Even though I'm at the airport right now, I've got a long flight from morning till evening. Even though I haven't prepared for this video, even though I've never done a live video like this before. So all these things considered, I still decided to film this now and here, because today is exactly 10 years since I quit my oil and gas construction job to become a data scientist. And this was not an ordinary move, because by that time I had been climbing the career ladder for almost 7 years, and when I finished I was a deputy director of an international oil and gas construction company branch in my region. I was doing offshore drilling, managing an office of 20 people and hundreds of people offshore, flying helicopters and private jets, conducting high-stakes negotiations with captains of the industry. And in this day, exactly 10 years ago, I came to the office early in the morning. I fired myself because there was no one else to fire me, and I just picked up my stuff from my desk and left to embark on this incredible journey. Everybody thought I was crazy. And this is totally understandable. I had an amazing career, a young family at the time. My daughter was only 2 years old, a mortgage, all very important considerations and typical implications that hold one from pursuing something bigger. But the price of change is the life that you're willing to give up for the life that you really want. I've been asked to tell this story many times, and I'm sure you find this useful. So why did I do it? And actually, let's even take a step back. So when I graduated my university and I was choosing my first career, I did a simple trick. I looked up the top 15 companies based on their capitalization just to see which fields they were in. And at that time, it was all oil and gas. So ExxonMobil was the most expensive company, $500 billion, followed by all the other oil companies in that list. And by that time, the choice was obvious. By 2015, I was doing great, but there were some unsettling macroeconomic developments in the world, and my company, it was a European company, got hit by sanctions. And we were all basically sitting in the office doing nothing because we could not conclude any new contracts. And the company was rich, they were paying us salary, we were basically getting paid full 100% of salary for doing nothing. It was fun at the start. So the first 1 month I was clearing up my mailbox and my desk and whatnot. But after some time it became to look hopeless. I decided to come back to that trick once again and looked up the top 15 companies' capitalization. And to my surprise, it was all tech in there. Sure, there were oil and gas companies in the list and there were a lot of banks in there, but the most expensive ones by far were tech, and that was the trigger. So based on that, I decided to try and somehow get into tech. The next line of research was what are the top paying jobs in the industry, and the data science field was just emerging at the time. Every article I read was referring to data science as some kind of superpower that everybody wanted and all the employers were fighting over talent. I also read that this was crazy hard, and that is exactly why those data scientists are getting paid so much. And I guess I also needed some kind of shake-up, because at that point in time I was really comfortable with what I was doing. I was basically not even thinking about how to do the things I have to do at work. As a result of this research, I pinpointed the area which had the most potential, but it was still not easy to make a decision. It's a really common trap. Everybody starts doing something, then they get better at it, then they get really comfortable, they start progressing up the career ladder, even slow increments, but still they feel that they are moving in the right direction. And all of a sudden, 7, 10, whatever years into the process, you cannot just quit, because you will basically delete the whole progress that you've been working so hard to gain. But I looked at it from another perspective. If you continue doing what you're doing, you're eventually going to get really good at it. Well, if you're motivated. And in many cases, this is perfectly fine. But if something happens, you will be left without anything, because you have invested all your life into this one thing, and in my case, political situation made it almost obsolete. So I needed some kind of shake-up that would turn my mind into a different direction, study something new, and expand my expertise. I know a lot of people, and I'm sure you do too, that are spending their life doing the things they hate. Just because they have the experience, they're getting paid for it, and they are basically capitalizing on their whole life reaching that position. I didn't want to end up in that kind of situation, and I guess that was the perfect timing, because the company I worked for was paying me 100% of the salary, and I had 100% of time, and the best thing I could do is just to study while I'm getting paid. Which brings me to my next point. How did I do it? And I guess you could characterize this just by two words: stubborn devotion. I was studying 8 hours a day, learning the subject I had no idea about. And frankly speaking, my first 2-3 weeks, maybe a month, I didn't understand what I was doing. I was writing some kind of code, and then I was spending hours and maybe days debugging and trying to find that comma somewhere that I misplaced. At that time, there was no ChatGPT or Claude or any other fancy AI tools, so you had to write the code yourself and make it work just using your head. And when you have zero experience in writing code and no computer science background, that is extremely hard. I gotta tell you, my mind haven't worked like that since, I guess, ever. Even in the university, I did not have to study that much. Because in school, they give you information sequentially when you build on top of what you learned before. In my case, it was based on zero foundation, but I continued to learn. Luckily, I have a friend who was in that field at that time, and she pointed me into the right direction every now and then when I was really lost. I went over a dozen of different courses. Actually, at this point in time, it's more close to 40. And actually, I made a video on how to learn data science with all the links and references, and it's gonna appear here somewhere. It was my third video on YouTube, and to my surprise, it got 25,000 views in just the first week or so, which was crazy. And after about 2-3 months of 9-to-5 learning and participating in a few Kaggle competitions with other data scientists, I've seen some results. I actually started to understand what I was doing and how to do it. So I decided to make a simple test. At that time, I had my oil and gas resume on a local job board where everybody finds a job. It was up there since after I graduated from the university, so about 7 years, give or take. And I constantly updated it. It was a really impressive resume for oil and gas field. And I went to have a look at the statistics of how many times it was viewed and how many times have the employer reached out for my contact details. And I think it was like 20 times in 7 years. So that's how I thought the job market worked. So I created a new profile and posted a totally different resume with different context about myself as a data scientist. I filled up my experience with a few made-up projects that were based on the Kaggle competitions that I participated in, which are indeed based on actual use cases. So I indicated all the data about my education and just posted it and forgot about it, because that's how I thought the job market worked. It's gonna take some time, months maybe, until somebody notices it and contacts me. But to my surprise, after a week or so, I went back to check on it, and I've had 1,400 views on that resume. Comparing to my oil and gas resume that was up there for 7 years and had only 20 views, these 1,400 made me really reevaluate the field that I'm trying to get into. The next logical step was to schedule interviews, because I really had employers reaching out to my mailbox and asking me to come and talk to them. And I was not used to that kind of attention in the job market. So I carefully scheduled my first interview, and I remember I haven't slept whole night before that because the imposter syndrome was crazy. I was sure that they're gonna figure out that I'm some kind of fraud and see me out of the facility. But about 10 minutes into the interview process, I quickly realized that on the other hand, the person understands nothing what I'm saying. This interview was not successful in regards of the job acquisition, but what it did is that it erased all my stress. I got home, and that night I scheduled 42 interviews across the next 1 month. And they were basically every day, and sometimes twice a day, 3 times a day. I was just coming to the office, checking in, had my morning coffee, and drove off to the first interview, then the second, then the next one, every single day. And every single time, the receiving end did not know the subject they were interviewing me in. I was free to say whatever I want, and they would basically believe it. I guess I got really lucky because I had a fair amount of fundamental knowledge that I picked up over 3 months of constant education, but I had zero experience, only a few Kaggle competitions that I participated in, and I had absolutely no idea about how tech companies work, about how actual projects are being executed. But given the fact that they mostly didn't understand what I was saying, I was really confident starting from my basically third interview. I had one more trick in my sleeve. So as I was going to either interview, I had a folder where I printed all those job openings, 42 pages, and that one that I was going to would go at the back of the folder. And all the other pages from my prior interviews had lots of notes that I scripted during my interviews. And as I entered the room, I would pull out my folder, list through all of those 42 pages, pull out that last one, put it in front of me so that me and the interviewer would be on the same page. And this little trick completely changed the attitude of the interviewer towards the interviewee. That basically left them no choice, because they understood that I was the one choosing the employer and not them choosing the employee. And from the beginning of the interview, they would start selling to me how great it is to work in their organization and all the different coffee and cookies and different benefits that they're going to offer. And at the point when I fired myself from oil and gas, I didn't even secure the job in tech yet, but I was so confident that the demand is there and that I already have offers in front of me that I just have to choose from. I think I went through 25 plus interviews until I had found the company I was comfortable working for, and basically that was it. It was the end of the year and we agreed that I would start at the beginning of the next year. So I had about 2 more months to study and get prepared for whatever it is I'm going to be doing there. Of course, I could not have done this without the support from my wife, because I mean, we had a whole family to run, and all those considerations that I started with, they all still had to be paid for. So she basically handled all that until I got my first paycheck. And by the way, if you look at the market cap of all those companies that made me make my choice back in 2015, Nvidia is 5 trillion, Apple is 4 trillion. That is more than 10 times the size of the General Electric that was the top of the world only 10 years ago. It confirms that the choice was right. Now, what has changed? Well, first of all is the salary. As I started at the bottom of the food chain as a data scientist, my first salary was exactly the same as my management position salary in oil and gas, which I had 7 years to reach. So at the get-go, I didn't lose on anything, and that again confirmed that the choice was right, because if you have a starting position that is on the level of the 10 plus years of experience in the other fields, it can only go up from that point. Now I made a little calculation earlier on the plane. So as I began my career after the university, the first job was really what I like to call as a printer manager. My desk was next to the printer, and I was an intern, and everybody that would come in to print something, they would ask me how that works. Half the time I was explaining people how to print or copy their stuff. From the point when I graduated and up until when I was managing an oil and gas company, through 7 years, it was 9x improvement, which is pretty high. But the latter few years, it was really incremental, and I could feel that I'm reaching the ceiling. So something dramatically had to change for me to improve my salary even slightly. Now, comparing this to when I started in data science with the same salary that I had in oil and gas, which at that time, at that market, was a really high salary. I could afford basically anything. So from that point up until now, I had another 9x improvement, which is completely crazy. And my friends and colleagues from back in the day were looking at this over these years. Not less than 15 people had followed my lead and changed their life the same way I did. Not all of them succeeded, but a few of them are really happy with this transition, and they became really successful in tech. So salary was the first thing that changed, and which was the most obvious. And then there was the potential, which realized in full across 10 years, and I can see it being far from exhausted. Freedom is the next major change, because prior to that I had to go to the office at 9 o'clock in the morning. I had to use my car to record when I entered and then record when I exited the office. All of that was calculated and constantly used during every quarterly evaluation. I had 28 days of vacation, which I still have technically, but I could not even dream about going into a different country or even a different town to work from there. And that was the reality I was used to, and I could not even imagine it being any way different. And when I started my career as a data scientist, I also went to the office because, again, I didn't know anything better. But when COVID came back in 2018, 2019, everybody was sent home and we all started working from our home offices. It took me some time getting used to this, because when you're working from the office your whole life, it's kind of hard to manage your time when you work from home. You gotta go make some coffee, and then this one thing broke that you have to fix, and then I'm gonna change the light bulb. The first few months I would find different excuses not to work, because you've got so many distractions back at home. But luckily I had a very professional team that I was a part of that knew how to work remotely, and they quickly put in place all the necessary processes, and I got used to it very quickly. You don't have to waste time in traffic jams. You can wear whatever clothes you want. You can manage your time. So for example, you want to get out from the office at 11 o'clock and have an early lunch, it's up to you. You can take your kids to sports activities every now and then during the day, and then continue your work when you get back at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock on the weekends, whenever you feel like it. And after about half a year, I re-evaluated how the work can be done. Since then, my family grew. We have visited so many countries. Currently, and for the past 3 years, we are living in Dubai with constant sunshine. And that was something we could not even dream of when I was working in oil and gas. This stress that I went through, this shake-up 10 years ago, has put me to the state of mind where everything is possible. You're a florist and want to become a data scientist? No problem, just do it. Stop what you're doing right now, or don't stop, and start doing something else. The next day you will be already 1 day ahead. 10 days later, you will be 10 days ahead of the first day when you started. You get the point. For the same reason I decided to start a YouTube channel, just because this was something interesting for me. Because if somebody does it, means you can do it. And you can apply this to anything. The only thing you have to change is your understanding of the situation, that you're not locked into some one process or a job just because you have all the experience. No matter the odds, public opinion, and all the noise around you, do what you think is right. And the right thing right now is subscribe to this channel. One more thing I want to add. I constantly get requests from the community that people want to contact me for whatever reason. So down below, I'm going to post a Calendly link where you can schedule a call with me and pick my brain. See you soon.